I guess we'll be calling this meeting in order at 12:13. Okay. And we'll start off with a pledge of allegiance. Mr. Narvaez, you gonna have your flag there for us?
Yes, I do.
Waiting for him. Okay. All right. Just ready. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. All right. With that being said, I guess we'll go ahead and start off with a roll call.
Okay. Miss Elizabeth Alonso Villarreal.
Present.
Mr. George Narvaez. I see him here. Mr. Carlos Gordillo.
Present.
Mr. Hector Cortez.
Present.
Mr. Robert Judd Gilpin.
Present.
I saw him and then he left.
He's there.
Oh, he is? Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry. I don't know, for some reason I cannot see, but Mr. Jose D. Gonzalez.
Present.
Perfect. And then Dr. Carlos Valle.
Present.
We have a quorum.
Great. Outstanding. Okay, with that being said, everybody that were presented the minutes, have you had a chance to review it? And if so, give you a couple of seconds, and I'd like a motion to approve February's minutes.
I make a motion to approve. I read.
Yes, okay. Second?
Second. I'll second it.
Is it Dr. Valle or who? I didn't see who that was.
Yes.
Okay.
I will.
Okay. Dr. Valle. Okay. Well, with that being said, all in favor say aye.
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 All right.
Anybody opposed? Motion passes. Okay. Next item, citizens' comments. Is there any citizen comments being provided right now? If not, we'll take it to the next level. Are we gonna, I know Liz made a motion or somebody made a motion, if we're gonna move the agenda items first, or we're gonna go to the staff reports? What do we have moving on right now?
Yeah, I made a motion. Yeah. In about 30 minutes, I got meeting.
I second.
With that being said, okay, yeah, so we got the motion, you got the second. All in favor, say aye.
All right.
Aye.
Any opposition? So I guess we'll go ahead and move forward with the action items first, with agenda item, and then we'll go ahead and start off with the reports. So action item, take over, airport staff.
Well, good afternoon, everyone. For the record, Manuel de Luna. I'm covering for Mr. Gilbert Sanchez. He's currently out at a cargo conference right now. And Mr. Labrada is out on leave. So they were like, hey, you're going to take over the meeting. And if anything, you guys need any requests, special requests, I can surely give them to them. But we can go over the action items that we have right now. So number one, consideration to recommend to the Laredo City Council to authorize of the city manager to amend a fuel farm lease between the Laredo International Airport and Signature Flight Support by increasing the property square footage from 4,500 to 5,316 square feet and increasing the rent from $3,669.75 to $4,338.87. with an annual adjustment according to the changes in the Consumer Price Index, CPI. All other terms and conditions remain unchanged in effect. Basically, we have three very similar items like that, where we are increasing the property square footage and our revenues are going to be increasing. So that's good. So that was item number 1.
And they're an existing tenant, right?
Yes, Signature Flight Support. It's an
Yes.
FBO that we have here at the airport.
Okay.
Yes.
I'll make a motion to approve.
A second.
It's more income.
Yes.
Is the third item the same thing as well, or not? Is it
If you want,
It looks like there's a reduction on that one.
if you want, I can read 1 and 2, and then the third one is that basically we're decreasing very minimum, like from 9,882 for 9,000.
Like $5, yeah. So
Yeah.
it's only $5 a month. It's minor, but I noticed that the others are pretty significant, and the tenants are all in agreement. Then,
Yes.
you know,
Mr. Chair,
we
do you
have a
want to read
motion and
item 2 as well? Because it's going to be the same thing.
now it's consideration time and when we're starting as well. I think that we get the gist of it. We understand that the first two are drastic increases, and then the third one is just a $5 reduction.
Minimum
So,
decrease,
and like
yes.
they said, it's a increase in income. So
Mhm.
the motion's already been made. Anybody have any additional questions or would like to comment more on this?
Is the motion on all three?
Yeah, so I'll
motion's on all three.
modify my motion to include items 1, 2, and 3 for approval.
Okay. Then, George, do you like to re-second that?
We can't hear you.
You're on.
I second that.
Okay. All right. So we'll go ahead. All right. Now, with that being said, any additional comments? Anything? Okay. Motion. All in favor, say aye.
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 Jack?
Any opposition? Motion passes for 1, 2, and 3. All right.
Okay, so item number 4, consideration to ratify service contract to exclusive dealer Daco from Lubbock, Texas for a cumulative amount of $50,564.66, and to further authorize future related expenditures for an amount not to exceed $100,000 for mechanical repair services and parts rendered and emergency, unforeseen, unexpected service repairs. These are repairs done on the ARF emergency units. The term of this contract shall be for a period of 1 year, beginning as of the date of its execution, and is subject to future appropriations. Funding for this contract is available in the Laredo International Airport Department funds. So brief summary on this, purchasing reach out to the airport department staff and noticed that expenses were going over the 50,000 mark. So they told us to reach out to the ARF fire department here at the airport and to check if those repairs were going to continue with that vendor. If yes, we were going to have to take it to council. So that's the reason we have this item for you for review.
Just a question, Mr. Dino.
Yes,
This, what is ARF?
I'm sorry?
What is ARF?
ARF, that's the fire department here that we have at the airport.
What do the initials stand for? Airport or some airport rescue,
Rescue,
firefighters? I don't know.
yeah, let me get that for you. Give me 1 second. Do you have that, Andrew?
Yeah, so my name's Andrew. I'm the operations manager here at the airport. R stands for Aircraft Rescue and Firefighting. So they
There we go.
exclusively respond to aircraft emergencies.
Thanks, Andrew. All right.
And I guess they're being repaired more often? They're breaking down more often, or what's the deal?
For that, it's more general upkeep and maintenance. The units are, I believe they're both over 10 years old. One's 10 years older than the other, but they're both older units. So it's just the maintenance upkeep to keep them running.
Okay, well, they have to be, we need these safety
Yes.
vehicles at the airport, so. Okay.
And I guess follow up with Liz's question, I mean, the amount's doubled basically. You're going up to $50,000 additional. I mean, has it really been breaking down that much? Is that an issue or?
Well, it's basically not to exceed 100,000. Doesn't mean that we're going to be actually spending those additional monies. We just had to comply with purchasing. Just if, for whatever reason, we would go over the 50,000, we need to take it to council for approval.
Oh, you know what seems peculiar to me is when you have something that's almost never used like that, it seems like the only use it's getting, except for an occasional, emergency maybe, is maintenance. It's, you drive them, you start them and you drive them so that they don't sit still doing nothing. So it seems like a lot of money related to something that almost never does anything.
So I can't say,
Example, on big equipment like that, you don't change the fluids except once a year. If you don't use them, you change them once a year. So there's none of that to be done. Your filters don't get changed. I don't understand what they're spending the money on if they never use it, except for training.
Andrew, you wanted to add something?
so I will say that they do test the systems every day because I see it in the morning. They're testing the water cannons. I know the repairs deal with, could be like the piercing nozzle. It could be some of the hoses. It could be some of the, I believe it's like the FLIR. So that's like the backup camera and like certain other infrared cameras for it that tend to just break down. I guess the newer truck it's more electronic than the older one that they have. So that tends to also require a lot more maintenance. And then there's not that many vendors that deal with the fire trucks. But
Yeah,
it
let
is
us-
also part of, it is also part of the 139 requirements, since we do have air carrier service, that we have to have the vehicles in full operation
Yeah.
at any time we're having air carrier service.
So you're saying it's more testing and diagnostics, even if there's nothing wrong, they're constantly checking to see if there's something wrong? That what I'm
They're
hearing?
constantly making sure that it's ready to go in case of an air carrier emergency.
Y'all ever get like a report, like a maintenance report that they provide a copy to you all so you all can, kind of just review and look at?
So we do get all the email chains from anytime they're requesting like any repairs and things like that, as like what specific that they're going to be fixing. And then on our Part 139 system, every day we get a daily report from the ARF for both units. That if they're both operational, and then if one of them's unoperational, then we get an update as to why it's not operational for that day. It could be either general maintenance, which they have at their station, or like a bigger break.
Yeah, because we're talking a little bit over $4,000 a month in maintenance. So just to make sure.
Is there any other, I'm assuming this is for a year. Does purchasing go out for bids on potentially other dealers? I would ask them to.
Oh, okay. We can definitely do that. We can definitely contact purchasing, trying to see if there's any other vendors out there that could provide that type of service to the ARF. Definitely.
And I know it's not more than 100,000, but really, like Judd said, it's not used, whatever. If it's being turned on, which I assume it is,
Mhm.
yeah, just for maintenance, so it's a lot of money.
Those fire trucks are expensive. I think they're over $1 million each.
So these are expenses that Andrew did mention, like we do need to have compliance, and there's expenses that we just can't, look another way to not expand that. Right?
Their sole existence is because we have air carrier service here. If we didn't have that, then we wouldn't need it.
Yeah.
Right, no, and And we need to be in compliance and be ready for any emergencies.
For the what if.
Yeah.
All right, so, any more discussion or would anybody like to make a motion on this item to increase by $49,400 and something dollars?
Is this a recommendation of staff?
Yes, we would recommend, yes.
Well, I don't like the amount, but if we need to get this, I mean, we can't put it on hold.
Yeah.
For safety reasons, but I would seriously consider asking, purchasing to go out and maybe you all can provide them with some leads to get others. I know you might not find many, but maybe you will. So I would at least, look out for it because, 50,000, you can use it for something else, or.
What I can say, what I have heard from the fire department directly is that with those type of vehicles, there's the pool of vendors is extremely small. I think it's just Rosenbauer and DACO, and that's pretty much it. And then since they're older trucks, then they
Yeah.
don't really have that equipment, so it's harder to find parts and things like that.
Taking consideration, we got a training facility, state of the art here in Laredo, and we should be able to train some individuals so we don't have to go as far as Lubbock or somewhere else. I mean,
Yeah.
just ideas, man. So do I have a motion on this or are we still hesitant?
It's only 1 year, so
Yeah, yeah. Mhm.
we ought to move it along, but I think next year we ought to have a better game plan than this.
Concur.
I motion to
I agree.
approve staff's recommendation.
Okay.
Second.
Judge, motion, second?
Second.
Who was second?
Second,
You, Hector?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Taking into consideration this is an increase in expenditures. Any additional comments or not, or any suggestions additional? Well, all right, all in favor,
an
say
eye on your
aye.
expenses, yes. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? Motion passes then.
We need more revenue. That's why we need to get those properties rented out.
Well, yeah. Still doesn't cover the expense doing the math. I think we're still short a little bit. It's a wash on this agenda item. But how about right now, any additional requests or comments? I know that I've heard comments. I don't know. Do we have somebody replacing Elsie's position?
Well,
Has there been some?
Mr. Chairman, as of right now, what we could say is, as far as like the interim position for that Mr. Gilberto Sanchez has right now, we have had any updates so far for that. I know that the assistant director for Miss Elsie was reclassified to create basically two operations managers, which is Andrew and myself. Basically, I will oversee the administration, business development, air service development, property development, and then Andrew would be airfield operations with Mr. Labrada. But as far as like Mr. Sanchez, right now he's still currently our interim airport director.
Okay, yeah, because I saw something or a comment was made that and the young gentleman who was going to be suggested by Marte. I don't know what I forgot his name off the top of my head, but he's being suggested for appointment. I don't know. Do we have any comments on that?
No. Basically, yeah.
The second thing is, when I was flying in from out of town last week or a couple of weeks ago, they said that the pilot said that they were missing an RFID technology or something's turned off and there was fog, so we had to fly to San Antonio. And it was already about 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock when I was flying in. Is there something that we could do to to get the RFID technology so they can land even during fog, because kind of really threw things off more for me. And I know that we're trying to sit to promote our airport, and whenever we have delays, you know, especially like that caused by our airport, if there's something that we could do, kind of expedite that. I mean, kind of even include that as part of our
Yeah.
process, you know.
I can speak to that one. So we do have a system where they can land in what's called IFR conditions, which would be the instrument flight rules. So that would be runway 18 right, or the other way around would be 36 left. So that does like those, if you see it on Jackman, those strobing lights from like the little light poles. So that's all part of that instrument landing system. So they can land when basically they have zero visibility. So we do have that system. And then on the Saunders side, which is the opposite side of that runway, we have the localizer, which is like the back course localizer. So they can also land in foggy conditions as well. So we do already have that kind of system in place.
Was it not working last week or what?
I know they always do the regular upkeep maintenance, but as far as I know, it was working, unless I can go back and look to see if maybe it was down for maintenance, but as far as I know, it should have been working. Because I know on one of the days last week, there's like a red light that we have, like if they're using that system, so we have to call tower for permission to cross it, and that light was on, but they were still landing that day, even though the visibility was pretty bad.
So we came in and they made me fly to San Antonio. We had to wait an hour and then we flew in. It just didn't make any sense. And a lot of us have been waiting from the day before because they canceled the flight. So, I mean, there's a full plane. So I'm just, you know, an observation, you know.
Yeah, sorry, I'd have to get more specifics on that one, but we do have an instrument landing system in place for pilots to land in zero visibility conditions. Just one way though.
Right.
We can definitely look into that, Mr. Chairman, and get back to you.
Mr. Chairman, I'm sorry to let you know, but I have to leave the meeting. I have another meeting in 1 minute.
Okay. Bye, Mr. Narvaez.
I think you're on mute, Mr. Gonzalez.
Okay.
There you go.
Would you like to make any requests, George, before you get off, or for the next meeting, or any additional comments that you'd like to provide before we go to reports?
No, sir. Everything is good.
Okay. Thanks, sir. Appreciate that.
Mr. Noyes.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
And does anybody else have any comments or requests? If
I
not,
do.
we'll go ahead and move forward. Go ahead, Liz.
Oh, no, and I talked to Manuel about it, but just so the whole board knows, just to follow up on the on selecting the brokers, realtors, I don't know, who, you know, for the empty buildings. That's just it. But I think we're gonna maybe have something for next month.
So it is part of the items that we're going to go over right now. We're going to go over
Okay. All right.
that is updates on that. Yes.
Okay.
So, Mr. Chairman, do you want to
Okay, great.
go over the staff
Staff
reports?
reports. So things will move forward. Yeah. Yes, sir. Please.
All right. Very good. Let me see. Go to the first one.
Sorry, really quick. Do you happen to have the day that issue happened where you said it was like you had to go to San Antonio or something like that?
It was Friday. It wasn't this last Friday. It was a Friday before. And it was actually Thursday night that we flew out of Dallas. So when I canceled the flight from Dallas to Laredo, and they canceled it for several individuals. So we all flew out on Friday morning. So I'm looking at trying to see my calendar over there. Maybe the 11th, the 10th and 11th.
Okay, because I do remember a day that around that time frame where they canceled everything for a while for like weather conditions. But
We got that cold front. It was real warm when I flew out and I came back in and it was real cold. So, and I was like gone for about 3 days. But my flight was supposed to be here on Thursday night, and then it was canceled, and we ended up flying on Friday morning. But I saw a lot of individuals on the plane that I knew, and we were saying the same thing, that we flew in from all over. So.
Right. Yes, sir.
And then we had a flight to San Antonio, and we're kind of like, wow, man. And that was a first for me.
Yes, sir. I'll see if I can get an answer with one of the airlines.
Thanks, Andrew. Okay, so we continue with the passenger report. We'll start comparing the month of January. That's the stats we currently have right now. We came comparing with calendar year 22 with 21. Of course, we came up 95% higher. And then comparing with calendar year 2022 with 2020, we came a little low. And then comparing with the change in percentage on deplaned, we came to be 43%. and the difference in percentage for deplaned comparing calendar year 2022 with 2020, we came down with negative 16%. 16%. Okay, I know the factor of Omicron and all that stuff, we took a little hit starting of the year, but as we continue with the year, hopefully we can pick up those emplaned and deplaned numbers. Now we continue with the cargo report. Again, the month of January, calendar year 2022, we got 36,559,417. Compared with 2021, we came a little low of negative 21%. And comparing it with 2022 and 2020, we came a little also down negative 39%. Again, there's factors that do hit cargo as well, and we came down. Hopefully in the next few months, we can pick up those numbers. We continue with the Federal Inspection Station FIS operations. We have up to February. As of right now, we have arrival for calendar year 2022. We got 874 and departure 306. Our total cargo for calendar year 2022, we got 1,180. Way up higher comparing it with calendar year 2021 and 2020. ANAM operations for cargo before it was SAT. In the previous meetings, I'm pretty sure Mr. Sanchez did mention that right now we're going to the transfer from SAT to ANAM. That's their new name, and of course a new staff as well. For calendar year 2022, we got 14, little under 2021 numbers, and way up higher comparing it to 2020. Okay. Also, getting air charter passenger numbers, private, having our total passenger numbers, 2022, 539. A little lower from 2021, and of course, way up higher for 2020. Our FIS operations for arrivals and departures, comparing it with the whole entire year, we got calendar year 2022, 1,719, higher than from calendar year 2021 and 2020. Our fuel flow reports, we did really good in January. Total gallons, 1,042,170. Comparing it with 2021 and 2020, it's 19% increase from 2022 to 2021. And as you can see, way up there, 144%, 22 and 2020. That helps us get more revenue in our collections for our fuel flow reports. We came up higher for month of January, 62,530.20. Comparing with 2021, 52,685.84. And of course, 2020 down low and 25,582.88. So our revenues increased for the month of January. So that's very good. Our delinquent report, we have our national air cargo, $820, personas y paquetes, 1,584.15, and Skyway Enterprises. As we've mentioned in the past meetings, we've been, as I'm showing right now, we've been sending certified letters trying to collect this money. Me personally sending those to them, as far as emails also to national airlines. So we're trying to collect those monies. Hopefully in the next meeting, we can decrease our delinquent report of our monies. Now we have status of reconstruction of our cargo apron phase 14. Andrew, I know Mr. Lara did provide you some updates on that.
Yes, so Mr. Labrada did send me the last report, and as far as everything looks, they're currently overall construction completions at 76%, and everything, there haven't been any problems since I guess the last meeting.
Okay. Thank you, Andrew. Then other item, general staff comments. I know Ms. Alonso wanted to touch base on the RFP for real estate services. Can you guys hear me? I see that
Yes, Yes.
it's lagging. Are you getting the same thing as me or no?
I can see it.
Okay. I think everything's frozen on my end, but I can follow up.
Yeah, I see the agenda item.
Okay.
Yeah, signature.
Victoria, I'm gonna stop the sharing because I don't know why it stopped on my end. Doesn't want to upload. Can you hear me, Victoria?
Yes.
Okay, can you try to share? Because on my end, it doesn't let me.
Well, what do you want me to share? The agenda?
Yeah, basically.
Okay.
So to touch base on the item for update on RFP FY22 030 real estate services and process in regards to promote and assist in the leasing of airport properties for the Laredo International Airport. So what we can say right now is because of the bid, it's still open. We can't go into much detail, but we have two proposals, right? We have two proposals that we're currently reviewing. Most likely by Friday, we'll get the scores up to purchasing, so we can do the selection. But how it looks is that it's not gonna be cheap. It's not gonna be cheap. What our proposal we're getting is that they're trying to get a commission from the entire term of the contract. So we're still working on the proposals, reviewing them. Hopefully by Friday, we have a selection.
How did you all go out? I mean, and I guess I should have read it or something, but I know normally what realtors and brokers do is if they can get a client here, you know, they charge, I don't know, a percentage, or normally it's the first month's rent, things like that. But it just depends how the proposal went out. If you all were specific like that, then normally, you know, that's what happens. Now, if you all, you know, indicated you all wanted, you know, more services, and, you know, then okay, but usually, and I didn't see the bid request, so, you know, when you're saying that it's not cheap, you know, normally it's just a 1 month's rent. But again, I didn't see how the bid went out. And, you know.
So Ms. Alonso, I heard you the last, I think the last thing you were saying is, I literally lost everything on my computer, so I had to come with it for you. So touching base on that, the RFP was basically, what they saw was any real estate agency or broker that was interested on assisting the airport to promote the property that had been
You see, that's where, you know, when you promote, well, yeah, there's more services, but I would have said lease it out, you know, get a client, lease it
Yes.
out, that's it.
So we had a meeting with the with brokers, with both brokers, and because it was kind of broad how the RP was created, right? So
Yeah.
we had another meeting with them and told them, hey, this is how many properties we have available to be leased. They haven't been vacant for several years. So we need for you guys to, you know, get this properties leased, right? So they did another review. their proposals changed, of course. And they're like, what we could do is base it on the term that we can lease it for you guys. We would request a commission for that, right? We can't go into much detail as far as that.
No, no, I understand that.
But we're currently reviewing those proposals, and
Okay.
we're actually doing the scoring within today and tomorrow. So Friday purchasing will get the selection. But what I could say is, of course, it's gonna be pricey.
Well, if it's gonna be pricey, look at all those thousands and thousands of dollars that we've lost in collecting because they're vacant. I mean, it just depends on what pricey is and what, I'd rather pay something and not have the airport buildings vacant, because as you know, a vacant building deteriorates and it's not being maintained. It deteriorates, and it's just, and I'm just bringing this up for you all to have more revenue, so that we can pay this extra $50,000 in maintenance. I just want what's best for you all so that you all can have more revenue.
Yes, of course. And what they're asking is more to long-term commission, as far as, like a one-time commission for them.
I would have, on the request for proposals, I would have been more, just read this out. You might want to try it. You might want purchasing, might want to go back and renegotiate, but.
And we did tell them that, but they were like, it wouldn't work for us. So,
Okay.
yeah. I think as soon as we have the scoring, we can definitely, once we touch base with purchasing, we can definitely go into more detail in
Okay.
turn of the next meeting, of course. Okay, and also the next, any other questions on that? Okay, the next item was on an update on fuel farm lease between the Laredo International Airport and Millionaire. I know we've mentioned in past meetings where we've been working with Millionaire to come in as another FBO here at the airport. Right now, we're still currently working with their agreement, trying to get the last things with our legal department. And hopefully in the next few weeks, we can definitely complete that agreement and have Millionaire on board here at the airport. Mr. Sanchez just wanted to touch base on that and give you an update on Millionaire. And that was it as far as staff reports. I know we did go over the action items. Any other requests, Mr. Chairman? You want to touch base on that?
No, considering, I think we're doing good. We considering the time we started, and we're finishing within the hour. So unless we've already made some requests, anybody have additional information they'd like to provide within the committee? Anything else that the airport staff wants to provide? Any information?
In the next following meetings, we'll touch base more in the RFP for the real estate services. We can definitely.
Thanks, appreciate that.
Thank you all for doing
Yeah,
great
that's-
jobs. Yeah.
Yeah, appreciate that. Yeah, you guys are doing outstanding. Great air show that you guys had not so long ago, a couple of weeks ago. So it was a nice event for the public. So really appreciate that. Really, considering it started off really bad in the morning and then we worked off and you guys managed. So good job. But
Thank you.
with that being said, anybody, Mr. Valle, man, it's like you're ready to make a cover album, man. It's all dark. Except you just every time you smile, you see some teeth, man. So, yeah, just motion adjourned. What's that?
Second.
We can't hear you, sir.
You can't hear you.
We have found out. I didn't know what it is. I'm sorry. It's very dark in my living room. I haven't I bashed my head into a metal pole.
Okay, well, I can't hear you.
Yeah, we got a bag by it, but
I'm good to go.
hopefully everything, it's good with everything.
It had a hard time, but I mean, with that being said, take into consideration, I got 5 minutes and I got a meeting coming up here in a couple of minutes. Motion adjourn, anybody?
Motion.
Judd, Liz, second. So you guys enjoy the rest of your day. See you next month. You guys take
Thank
care.
you.
Have a good day.
Everyone, thank you very much.